Good morning to everyone joining the session. Welcome. Thanks for being part of today. I'm going to get started soon, but just let people arrive before we get started. Good morning. If you're just logging in now, thanks for joining us for the Accountex software demo day. Just going to leave it another 20 seconds or so and we'll get started. We've just hit 10 a.m. So we'll get started. Thank you to everyone joining the session and welcome to the first ever Accountex software demo day. We've got a really good day prepared for you. And to start with, we've got a really great sponsor, which is Glasscubes. And just before we head over to, and I'll introduce their session, with regards to any questions throughout the day, if you would like to ask Craig, your speaker, any questions, please do pop them in the Q&A box below. And Craig will do his best to present his session and then come back to you on any of those questions just closer to the end. But for now, I'll introduce you to Craig and the session, which is client portals that deliver more than document sharing and approval. This is with Glasscubes. Craig, I'll hand over to you now. And if you want to share your screen.
Thank you, Justin. Thanks for the introduction. Good morning, everybody. My name's Craig Hyslop. I head up customer success over at Glasscubes. And today I'll be showcasing our client portal solution to you for the accountancy sector. My plan is to run through the demo of the software, and then there will be some time, as Justin said, for some Q&A to address any questions. I'll do my best at the end of the session. So to begin with, I thought I'd start by giving you a bit of background to what is Glasscubes. Well, it's a modern day client portal that's designed to provide firms with a competitive advantage, make your jobs easier and improve your client experience. Most importantly, it's a tool that's going to save you hours of time, which will allow accountants to be more productive and focus on what's important, which is to build and strengthen the client relationship. In order to achieve that, we've taken a different approach to the client portal. We've developed a tool that contains a more comprehensive set of useful features over traditional client portals that typically offer a secure gateway to exchange information and to manage files and approvals. However, the client portal can add far greater value. So let us take you through our approach to how we tackled this. So Glasscubes is accessed via the cloud, and you simply log in by invitation only. So it's an partitioned invitation only platform. You log in and receive an invitation and you'll create a username and password. When you log into the platform, Glasscubes can be white labeled and completely branded to your organization's firm's account. This is the main dashboard area, which I'm going to come back to. We're going to navigate over to the client portal areas, which we call workspaces. So I mentioned there that Glasscubes is a permission-based environment. So you invite members to different spaces, which we call client workspaces, to support interactions and information sharing transactions. So what does a client portal look like? It contains a suite of tools that enable you to work in a more efficient way together with your clients and with your team. When you create a client portal, it's made up of a series of tools that aid the working together and collaborative working process. This is an about page that you can create to introduce your client portal. It's a nice way to introduce the space. You can add client logos into here. You've also got a nice welcome message here. And this is helpful for introducing the space, gives you an opportunity to explain how you might work with them, and also to convey any special instructions or greetings that you might want to. What I'm looking at here is a summary of what's been going on in this client portal, so I can see since I last logged in, the activity that's been taking place within it. So you can see there's been 20 new documents have been added into the space here, 2 files have been updated, there's been 4 discussions taking place, 4 tasks have been completed, and we've added a further 14 actions to our requirements. And all of these are hyperlinked, so you can click into them and easily see new things that have been taking place on the workspace. Moving into the different elements that make up our client portal, we want to control communication, so get out of email and channel communication securely through the client area. So here you've got the ability to handle all communication with your client through a social discussion thread. So it's easy to use, easy to interact with, and you can see the general style of communication that's used in our platform. This is a communication that's taking place around a document. This is somebody that's putting an alert against a project that we're working on with a client. And this is a general communication that's been sent to the client. To create a new message, you just create your new message. And the platform is also, as well as being a central hub to securely collaborate via, it works also in conjunction with something called notifications. And notifications are hugely important because they alert and draw attention to new things that might be going on the client space. So your customers may be busy with day-to-day activities. We put something into the client portal, we want to share a communication with them, so we need to notify them about that. So when I create the message, I can choose to notify the client if I want to. If I do notify the client, what will happen is they will receive a notification alert, and that goes to their corporate email address. Also at the top of the platform, they will have a notification center with colored numbers indicating that there's new things for them to view. And if they install the mobile apps, for which we have native Android and iOS apps, you would also get a pop-up alert to the mobile device. Furthermore, you can also choose to follow the client workspace. So as a follower, that's a pull notification, which means anything that gets placed into this client workspace, you would be notified of, whether that's a new conversation, a new document. So if you choose to elect to follow it, you'll automatically get updates from the workspace, alerting you to new things going on within it. So that's how we handle the communication and discussion feed. If you do get a notification pushed through to your email, for convenience, the user can simply just reply to that email and it will add the communication back into the discussion feed. Or alternatively, if they prefer, they can click onto the link that will be in the notification and they can respond directly onto the discussion thread in Glasscubes that will be open in the appropriate place. Moving on then into documents. So we have a files repository area in Glasscubes that supports robust document sharing, document control, and we have a few neat document management features that sit around the tool itself. So here you've got a central document repository. All parties are looking at the one version of the truth here. So you can build out whatever folder structure you need to very easily on the tool. We support any type of document size loaded into the platform. To upload documents, you simply upload using the upload files button, or you can drag and drop into the document area. All documents that are centralized into the document repository are audit trailed, so we know who's uploaded them, when they were uploaded, and they're also version controlled. So we're certain that all parties are always referencing the same up-to-date, accurate document in the document library. And for convenience, you can click onto an online preview of the document. So you'll be able to view the documents online. So you don't have to download them to view those. We have some neat features around the tool here, which are with regards to managing approvals. So we have digital approval in the platform, which is obviously a use case within this industry sector for signing off or approving on documents. The approval request is very simple to use. You select the approval members that you'd like to approve this document by. You then state when that needs to happen by. You can add a supporting message to it, and then the approval will be sent through in the workflow, notifying the recipient they need to approve this document. They click onto it. They'll be chased with an auto reminder if they haven't actioned the request in time. And then they simply click onto the document and they can approve and reject it. And then their approval is date and time stamped. And we've got an audit trail in our approval report that will be capturing those approvals, the state of those approvals, whether they're overdue. When we click into an approval, you'll be able to see who has approved and who hasn't approved the document. So you'll be able to see the percentage rate of return. So I've gone in and approved this one. We're still waiting for the example user to come in on this example and approve that. So you've got full approval and audit management there. Quite often, accountants are always requesting information from their clients. And one of the biggest challenges that they have is requesting that information and getting it back in a timely manner. So we've got a really useful feature up here called File Request. And File Request is a simple disposable tool that's really handy for requesting information from your clients. So to set up a file request, you just you can import a list of documents that you might need to be requesting from your client. For each line item here is a request for a file. I can import into here, as I say, a list of documents. Our platform will automatically assign a secure folder to receive this information back into, or I can change the location and specify a particular folder that I would like to target this information coming back into. I then send the email address to the person that I'd like to send this file request through to. You can send it to anybody. I'll then give it a notification, information request. I can support that with an accompanying message. And then the key part of the file request is the automatic chasing of information that you've requested. So we want to ensure that we get information back in a timely manner, and accountants spend hours of time chasing people for information that's outstanding, that's preventing them from allowing to get on and action the work. So when you set up a file request, you've also got the ability to set the frequency of an auto chase. So depending on what type of work you're doing, I can say, well, I need this information back to you by the end of the month. And if I don't get it back from the end of that month, what frequency would I like to place on an auto chase? So I'm going to say, well, every 5 days, I'll be chasing you for this information that I need. And I'm going to set that up for 4 times. I'll be chasing you every 5 days. If it's super urgent and you've got a deadline that you need to hit, then you might want to shorten that frequency so that this platform is auto chasing to get you the information that you need in a timely manner. So that file request is set up, and that will now be sent out to the recipient, and they will receive an email notification into their inbox advising them of that file request. So if I just jump to the file request, this is it coming into email. I click onto it, and you can see they've got a very straightforward UI in terms of responding to that information request. So I've requested the following information, and it clearly states the date that I need to do that by. I can upload the information that they're asking for. So this is item 1. I can simply upload the information, select the files. I can attach it from a particular file location, and there's the file attached with a green tick against it. Now, it might be the case that I'm not actually the one that's going to upload this information. The file request has come to me, but there's a better person in the firm that can send this information back into this file request. So I can delegate the file request, and I can push it on to a colleague or a co-worker that will actually respond and provide that information. Also, if I need to message the requester with anything that I need to do, then again, I can send them a message. If I've got a query or something to do with this file request, then I can do that. So that illustrates the file request and the user journey of what they receive. On your side, the accountancy firm has a file request report that allows them to view in a single place the progress that's being made against all of these file requests. So within here, I can see here's a file request for an audit. You can see there's a lot of documentation in here that I've been requesting from the client, and you can see very neatly what documents have come back in and what I'm yet still waiting for. I've had a message come in from John, who's asked a question of me here. And as I start to receive this information, I can click onto it and I can see the secure transfer of information come in, and I can start to work on this information as it comes through. So the file request feature has got a really neat capability to keep people on track, can clearly see what information I've received and what information I'm still waiting for. I also know that for peace of mind, this information has got an auto chase on it. So I don't have to keep looking into this, making sure I'm going to get this information on time. The information will come back on track and on time. And if it doesn't, I know the auto chase reminders will be kicking in and will be asking the client to respond to get the information back to me in a timely manner. So that's the file section. You can store documents in here, as I mentioned, any type of file, any size of file. You've got the ability to version control the documentation. If we are working on documents together, we can control the editing of those documents. We protect the version control, and if there are subsequent versions of a document that's coming into play, we will keep an audit trail of previous iterations of a document's life cycle if we need to revisit or roll back to a previous version. But the latest version of the document is always the one that's shared in the document library. We also have forms in our platform. So online forms are really useful for any information gathering exercises that might be going on around the firm. So some examples might be client onboarding. You need to gather information electronically and easily from parties. There may be other sort of workflows and processes. So the way we've designed the forms in Glasscubes is we give you the ability to have an online forms builder that allows you to create any type of form. Within the forms component itself, you've got any type of form field that you would ever need on an electronic form. So single fields, paragraphs of text. You've got number fields, drop-down boxes to choose from, single, multiple choice options, the ability to attach files. So if you're getting ID information back in, you can sign off on the forms. Every type of field category is supported within the platform. Now, it's not just the, just close that down. Later. It's not just the form itself that we're creating, but quite often when a form is completed, you've also got a workflow or a process that needs to happen off the back of it. So we've combined forms with workflow so that when forms get completed, there may be a process that we need to follow off the back of that form submission. So it might be simply, we need to notify the team that we've received the form coming back in. We might want to set up a task for that team to then action that request. So if it's a client take on, for example, that information might need to be processed or moved into another system. And we might want to save the form into a target directory and put it directly into as a PDF copy into a form location. We've got multi-part forms, which allow you to build processes and add information to forms coming in. We've also got approval workflow on the forms themselves. So we've got a very comprehensive opportunity to look at the business process and simplify and automate some of that. So some examples might be payroll and new starter submissions. We can send out a form, the payroll sheet gets updated, that gets submitted. It also adds any new starter submission information on it, comes back into your team on submission, it will set up a task, and then they know to process that payroll. We've also got the ability on the forms to view results, so you can start to see at any point in time in a single view, and this is where we can start to manage workload and view the status of outstanding information that might be in the process. So let's imagine this is a list of payroll information. We've sent the form out and people are responding. I can see all the payroll clients here and the information coming back into them and what stage it's at in the process. This is an example process where we can see the form information has come back in. It was then sending us a notification to alert us that that form's come in. So that was the second stage. A task was then created, was the third stage. A PDF copy of the document was then saved directly into a target folder. The next stage of this process is we need to send a form submission back, and then there's also going to be an approval request at the tail end of that to approve. So let's say I'm submitting the payroll back to the client and they're going to approve it and sign it off to let us know that we can now process it. So a combination of the workflow and the online forms makes this area very powerful, and it's very versatile, so you can use it for a whole variety of different information gathering exercises that you might be involved with. Then looking on to task management. So task management, we all have actions and to-dos. Different departments across a firm have different processes and actions that they need to carry out. So the task management system can be useful for just setting basic actions and to-dos that you might be working on with the client. So there's a transparent place for everybody to see what needs to happen, when we'll be working on things together. You can see who's accountable for those deliverables and when those are due to happen. This example here looks like it's an audit process where several milestone actions will be happening through this audit, and we can start to see the progress that's being made through this particular piece of work. Again, corporate finance might have certain different actions that they would be working through together. So again, this is a universal task management list that can be applied to different projects or processes or actions across different departments, or just activities that you might be interacting with at certain times with your clients. So this looks like, as I say, a process that we're going through to do with an audit. I can see here that some of the tasks, I'll just move this into the all view. This will now show me those tasks that we've completed on, those tasks that are in progress are highlighted with the green circles, and the ones yet to be started are yet to commence. There's not a lot of information here, just the task title, but if you click onto the task, the right-hand pane expands, and this allows you to collaborate on the task and make notes against it. You could easily add supporting documents into the task. So if I wanted to bring some documents in, then I can just loop those tasks, those documents into the task itself, and they sit there very neatly. If I want to see the progress a little bit more visually represented, this is our progress state. So this is telling me we're completed on 4 items, in progress on 3, and we're unstarted on 7 actions in this particular example. So this is a progress view perspective. And then from a workload view perspective, this is telling us when are we required to carry out this work. So I can see we've got 2 tasks that are due this week, and 8 of the actions aren't due till further out than the week ahead. So this is progress, and this is our workload perspective. There is more powerful project coordination in the platform if it's required. If you've got a big project going on and you need to support more robust project coordination, you can tap into our timeline view, where you've got the ability to bring in like a Gantt chart, where you can start to build dependencies and relationships between the tasks, and you can draw and manage relationships and dependencies against tasks. So we need to do this before this one is dependent on this one, and you can start to build those relationships and build a Gantt view, which can be distributed for PDF if necessary. So that's the task management module. That also works in conjunction with the forms and workflows. So as you saw on the back end of some of the forms, we can auto generate and create tasks for certain teams or actions. So in here, you may have a scenario where you've got people that have completed a form, and it's automatically generated a task for a particular department then to then go and process the information off of that form that's been received. We then have a calendar in a client workspace. So this straightforward calendaring activities that you would expect to find in here. You can schedule events. So this has got a Zoom call set up to discuss the client's year end. You could add events, schedule conference calls, set up Zoom meetings. Any tasks with deadlines will also pull through to your calendar view. And if you're working across multiple clients, then you can overlay different calendars on top of one another to get a single view of the calendars that you might be working across different customer areas. You then have a member area. That calendar also, just to touch on, will also sync back to your work calendar. So whether you're using Outlook or Gmail, if you set up events in this calendar, it will sync them back to your work calendar. You then have a little members area here. So this is just telling you who's got access to the client areas. As I mentioned, it's a permission-based environment. So if you're a member of a workspace, you will see it. And if you're not a member of that workspace, then you won't even know it exists on the platform. So there's a Chinese wall between the client portal areas. And when you invite a member into a workspace, furthermore, you've got granular permission. So you can control what somebody can and can't do in the workspace. So to invite somebody in, you just send them an email to their corporate email, and then you give them a role in the workspace where they can either be contributors or they can be read-only. So you can restrict what members can and can't do. Furthermore, on permissions, if you've got members that can contribute to the workspace, but there's particular folders or files in here that you don't want interfered with whatsoever, regardless of their permission, then we do also give you the capability to apply permissions down at the individual folder and file level if you need to go down that far, and you can restrict back to read-only, hide certain folders and files out of the workspace from certain members, or you can restrict member information to a view only, which prevents information being downloaded from the platform. You can only just view it whilst you're in the client space. There's no option to download and take that information off the platform. So hopefully you can see there, with the client areas, you can design these workspaces how you like. You don't have to have all of that functionality turned on. You can choose which features are going to add value to your working processes, and you can simply uncheck any capabilities that you don't feel would add value to your client portal areas, so that the UI and the less cluttered the interface is, the more engagement and easier the platform will be to understand. But essentially what we've got here is an ability to introduce your client portal, see a nice summary of things that have been going on within it. We know that all of our client communication is centralized to the communication feed. All the documents we're working on together are stored centrally within the document areas. You've got the document management functionality to tap into, so things like being able to upload any file, multiple files at the one time. The file request feature, which is really handy for requesting information and auto chasing it to get it back in. You've then got full document management control around the function of the documentation in here. So version control, permissions down to individual folders and files. You could label documents as well if it's useful to tag documents of a type or might form part of a category, and then you can easily search on those. You've got the online preview, so you can view documents online. You don't need to download them. If I wanted to give some feedback on a document, I can make a comment against the document, and that can be seen, and we can have a communication around this file if necessary. You've got the workflow approval, so you've got the approval request. You've also got the ability to share the document, and you can also edit the document in the platform also. The forms obviously is for your information gathering, actions and to-dos all in one place. And then you've got the calendaring activities there, supporting your calendaring activities. I mentioned to the left-hand side the workspaces, client portal areas that you can build. The structure that you can create here, you've got an infinite amount of use cases to support the client area or project areas. So we would see firms setting up client portals for a client. We might see firms setting up a client portal, several client portals for a client that are split down by departments. So corporate finance have an area, payroll have an area, based on the services that you offer that client. So you could have several client portals that are across different departments. You've got different teams that might be working on some project work. So they might want to spin up a space to be able to support that interaction or that transaction. So you might have some project spaces, for example. So in reality, what that leads to on the accountancy firm side is that you're managing work across several clients, and you're needing to prioritize that work, keep a handle on that work. And sometimes that can be challenging when you're working across multiple projects and you're also working with different clients. So the My Stuff area is a really powerful area for teams to be able to work out of. So this allows me to work across all my clients and see all my interactions and information that I've got going on. So this is my calendar, so I can see if I've got any key dates coming up across any of the clients that I'm working with. If I've got any actions that are required for me, then what I've got here is a reminder to say that there are things that I need to do on this platform that I haven't actually actioned yet. So I've got some information requests to address. I've sent some information. I've got an external file document here that's the example user still needs to come in and approve. So these are my my actions. Coming down here, I can see anything that's going on. So these are my approval requests. So I can see the approvals that are going on across my clients. So I can see the different clients here. I can see the documents that I've gone out for approval for here. I can see the versions that the documents have been approved against. So if we have a subsequent document change, it'll tell you the version that the document has been approved against. And I can see the status of those. So when they're in good standing, they go to green. When they're not in good standing, they'll be outstanding, or this one has been rejected, and I can expand those. There will also be auto chasing taking place across those, so I can see in one place all of the approvals that I'm waiting for against documentation that I'm working on. Now, these are my information requests, so I can see again across all clients that I've gone out to for information requests. Again, imagine I've gone out and asked for tax return information across all my clients. These could be set up as information requests, and I can see the status of those, which ones have come back, where they are in the process, and what I'm still waiting for. These are the file requests. So again, I can see the progress of all my file requests, what's outstanding. I can see the information coming back, so I can start to work on some of this information. If I've got it coming back in part, I can click into this and I can navigate to items that have already come back in easily, and I can start to work on those. Again, I know that the auto chasing is kicking in, and it will be requesting this information in the background So hopefully I'll be getting more stuff back in the time that I need it to be able to work on. Coming down here, this is a portfolio of projects that I'm working on. So again, to put that into some context, let's imagine I'm working in corporate finance. We've got several transactions or projects on the go at the moment. So what I can do is I can put all my projects, I might have set up different spaces to handle our projects where we're channeling all of the communication, the documentation, the actions and to-dos to do with that project into one contained area. So it's easy for me to manage. It's not combined with my huge email inbox. I'm containing the information to do with that project in one place. And if I've got multiple projects running side by side from one another, then again, I might want a single view just to see how we're doing on those projects. So I can see those that are on time, if there's any at risk. I've got a progress perspective view here against the tasks and how we're progressing. So I get a feel for progress, when the due dates are, priority of the project, and I can see that in one place. So I've got an overview there of any project work that might be going on. And then coming down to the bottom here, this area is giving me my tasks. So this is personal to me. So everything that I need to do running across all of my clients, I can see my tasks. So I might have tasks allocated to me in several client areas, but obviously I want a central view to be able to work systematically through my actions and to-dos. And this is where I can see all those in my task area. So this tells me what I've got this week, what's coming up later, so I can control my workload really efficiently and effectively via the My Tasks area. Then coming back to the main dashboard area now. So this is the arrival into the platform from the accountancy firm side. The clients you've got the ability to bring them into this area, and then they would be navigating to the client areas that you create for them on the left-hand side. Now, I mentioned at the start that Glasscubes can be branded to your organization. You have the opportunity to white label our platform, so you can mask the URL with a custom URL to your firm. You can add your logos, color schemes really easily in the platform. Under the branding settings, you can easily change the colors of the site to match your organizational colors, and you can add a welcome message and a greeting of your choice and a background color of your choice. So it's designed to look and feel like it's your tool, your portal, on brand, facing off to your client. Furthermore, down the right-hand side, you can see these colored notices and updates that our platform generates. Now, these are often used by marketing teams that would want to maybe be promoting wider services to your client base. So if you've got different services that maybe aren't being taken advantage of by certain clients, then again, this is another avenue where you've got customers coming to you on a regular basis now via this channel, because it's part of your way you interact and work securely with your clients. So this is a great area and an opportunity for either providing insights from the market that might be useful to your clients to again add value that way. You might be running events or seminars, and therefore again another great place to promote those. Or there might just be news updates, specific information about, as I said, a range of services that you might have to offer that you again want to promote in this area. So coming back to the top of the platform now, this is a global search. So we index the entire platform. So as you want to look for something in the platform, you would be able to keyword search. And we're indexing all of the conversations, all of the documents, all of the tasks, conversations the like. So you can keyword search for that, and it will pull back results against searches that you're performing. So within our platform, this can be taken on board as an entire client portal for the entire firm. And we have installations of enterprise-wide deployments where we support things like single sign-on. We also have an open API where we can connect to practice management systems or sync back information to other storage facilities that you might be using. So when the platform is deployed, it can either be taken on a company-wide basis, or in some instances, there are specific teams or departments that have a particular need, which is more comprehensive than maybe part of the other business, and they are looking for a tool, and therefore we might just work with corporate finance initially, who needed an in-the-round tool to support and manage their projects. So we can start there. It doesn't have to be a huge deployment. As I said, we can land and expand into one department, and then quite often another department will see value in what some of the capabilities are, and you can grow into the solution department by department. Or, as I said, you may be looking for a more strategic client solution option anyway, and therefore we can start to go on that journey together. The platform is very easy to use. Hopefully that's been seen in the UI. One of the biggest feedbacks that we hear from Glasscubes is that people found the tool easy to use, easy to interact with, and most importantly, the clients did as well. So when you're imparting a tool like this into a client area, you want it to be intuitive. We use the social threaded conversations that are familiar in most consumer-based tools now, so people find it easy to interact with. Glasscubes is built out of the UK. It's a UK-based organisation, so we provide UK support in office hours. At the top of the platform, you've got access to support pages where you can log into areas and search videos or help guides for how-tos. And there is also in-app chat support. So if any users needed some assistance, they can jump onto the in-app chat support and reach out to us via that medium. So that concludes what I wanted to showcase on the product side. So what I'm happy to do now is, I know I've got some Q&A to have a look at in here, so I'll open up the Q&A. Obviously, I'm going to run through some of these questions, but I'm conscious we're on a Zoom with lots of people. If anybody outside of this session would like further information about what I've spoken about today, would like to chat to us more about how we could maybe help a department or your firm, then please do reach out to me. My contact details are on screen there now. I've got a few questions, I think, in here, so let me see if I can see any questions. So I've had a question here, which is asking, in the file section, is it possible to send an approval as well as an approve of several documents at once? So yes, you can. So if you're approving, it doesn't just have to be a single document. You can approve several documents in that one movement. Let's have a look. So someone's asking here around when I logged in, I put a username and password in, and someone's asking if there's multi-factor authentication available, which yes, there is. So as I mentioned there, for some of our enterprise deployments, we support single sign-on using SAML 2.0. We also provide two-factor authentication. That can be either via the QR code, which is via one of the code to the mobile device, or you can also select a memorable word and you have an option to choose which type of multi-factor authentication you might like in the product. Is there an ability to separate the information into tax years, files? So you've got a folder structure there, and you've also got a labeling system there, so you can create different, you can partition documentation into different folders to support that, I believe. Another question here, which I think I touched on, but just to talk about that, are there any APIs that would allow firms to integrate the portal with other systems? Yes, there are. So we have a comprehensive open API that will allow you to extend onto and transfer information. So we've got full documentation that I can make available to you on the APIs that will allow you to again, bring information back into specific systems that you might want to explore there. Another question again, which is the similar one there around practice management systems and APIs. Another one here, have you integrations with practice management such as CCH, Iris and so on? Yes, we have. So we have integrated into those systems. And absolutely. So what we tend to find, you know, on that point is a lot of you will have maybe a practice management system in place, And as I said at the start, often the front ends of these practice management systems, they've embarked on providing a client portal. But typically what we've found is that they're quite limited. They provide a gateway, a front end gateway to exchange information securely. They also maybe support a workflow approval of type. So that's fine, but it's quite limiting. Obviously, the advantage is it brings the information back into your practice management system. But hopefully what I've conveyed on the presentation is that accountants need much more than that. There's a lot more activities going on than just simply providing a gateway to securely exchange information via. And it's this workload prioritization, it's saving time, it's the requesting of information and getting it back on time. It's having the ability to view your workload across multiple customers that you're working with and see the status of where that information is. And quite often it's buried in email or information's come back in part, and trying to stay on top of all of that. That's the additional value that we've created in the client portal with Glasscubes, as well as considering those fundamentals, with providing security and an encrypted method of exchanging information, providing the approvals and all the core information that you need. But it's that added capability that really is the added value that we're finding that accountancy firms are tapping into. And like I said, different departments have different sets of processes, and they will pull on the technology and the different tools within it to suit their processes. So as I said, sometimes we will land and just work with a couple of departments. Others, it will then be an entire solution across the entire firm. So there's a very flexible approach, and within that, different departments will tap into the different capabilities within the client workspaces. So some might take more advantage of forms and tasks and documents. Others might be using tasks heavily and conversations. Others might be using the document repository more and maybe discussion. So they will all have slightly different combinations. But the great thing is that the platform is configurable to support the processes of all of those different departments, pulling on the technology that I presented to you today. So I think that pretty much addresses everything that's in the chat box. There's one other question there that I've just seen around the pricing structure of the product, which is a good question. So Glasscubes has two editions that are suitable for this sector. One is our enterprise edition and one is our workgroup edition. They are based on a per user model, per user per month model. We offer either a flexible monthly subscription where you could just subscribe on a monthly basis, and that's a rolling subscription. Or we also provide an annual subscription, which is discounted slightly over the monthly subscription. The cancellation to offboard the platform is just 30 days notice. The data centers are all UK based, with the platform sits on the Amazon Web Services infrastructure in an ISO 27001 certified environment. Glasscubes also as an organization holds that certification as well as Cyber Essentials and other certifications that we hold. The price is based on a per user per month model, and as you put more users or provision for more users through the platform, there is a discounting structure that you can benefit from as you scale. So if you've got the more users that you put onto the platform, the lower the price point becomes on the monthly average cost per user per month. So hopefully that has given you a good insight into Glasscubes. It was useful, and what I really wanted to get across is as I said, the emphasis on some of those other tools outside of just simply the gateway to exchanging information. And the real value comes from helping accountants manage their workload, save time, automate some of the mundane administrative processes, and give you an environment that you can collaborate and share information through and improve that client experience and be more productive. Justin, happy to hand over to you and conclude the presentation.
There we go. Sorry, it wouldn't allow me to unmute. Hopefully you can hear me now, but that was the terrible for a second there. But thank you very much, Craig. It was a really good session and good to learn about Glasscubes a bit more. Of course, anyone can get in contact with you, which is brilliant, just about the products. And for anyone watching, thanks for sticking with us. And of course, we have another session starting at 11 a.m. And that is with Accounts IQ. That's 7 software functions your finance team and clients need to be more effective. So thanks for being with us today. Make sure you get in contact with Craig and stay with us if you'd like to join the next session at 11 a.m. Thanks again, everyone. Cheers.